Joseph here with another practice test question answer video. Keep watching because this video is going to be covering, well, as you've already probably seen in this practice test question that was posted yesterday, something that we haven't done a huge amount of in these questions as well as the answers. So before we jump in, I'd like to draw your attention to two very important announcements. First, our Certification Challenge Award Ceremony, June 3rd. If you have participated in this award ceremony or know somebody who has participated in this award ceremony or just wants to support the Magento community as a whole, please feel free to come on in, join us, because I am super excited about this. This is going to be a fantastic way to honor those who have invested a tremendous amount into their career, into the companies for which they work. This is going to be a good time. So mark your calendars. You'll see more announcements coming out about this over the next week and a half or so, which until we have this ceremony. But make sure to mark your calendars for June 3rd at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So do that. I'm looking forward to that. Secondly, I will be speaking at Meet Magento UK June 21st. June 21st at Meet Magento UK. Really excited about being back together with the Magento community, international community. It's going to be absolutely fantastic there. I hope you're able to come, get a ticket. You know, it's just one day, so it's not like it's going to take a huge amount of time away from your work. You're going to meet some of the brightest people in the industry. That wouldn't be me. So, you know, you'll look forward to reading all the other, all the bright people in the industry. And I'm looking forward to that too. I'll have plenty to learn myself, and I'll be excited to catch up on the latest trends, what's happening, meet all the wonderful leaders of this community. I am looking forward to attending that. So without further ado, let's jump into our practice test question. As I said, this one is interesting. Now, there are two aspects of this that we haven't covered much in the past. Number one is code. We talk about code, but in this case, it's incredibly code heavy. You are going to run across a few questions, not a ton, but a few questions on the test that are incredibly code heavy. As such, it's very important that you understand how to work through these questions. Second, of course, we're going to talk about SQL queries. So this is going to be good. Let's jump in. You are tasked with building this SQL query. All right, so we have a select from, there's a sum in the select, where, in, and a group by. So keeping security in mind, what code do you place below? All right, what do we place below? So this would probably live, or, well, I say probably, this should live only in a resource model. I have yet to see a place that in a resource model, this kind of a code that would live outside the resource model. I mean, maybe a collection, maybe. But ultimately, we have what we see a very custom in our code here. We have a very custom query. So a collection would not be a good use of this, in my opinion. So let's take a look at this. So we have our select, our where, of course. So some of this is already built out. Then we have our fetch ASOC, which I hope you take a few minutes to see the different types of fetches. This would be a really good opportunity to do that. So this is kind of using Magento's ORM. You've probably seen this to one extent or another. This should be fairly normal stuff. However, we're going to talk about how this actually comes across in code. So look at this answer right here. And if you're like me, this could start working toward a freak out moment. We think, how am I going to decipher which is the right answer? And I almost slipped up and just gave you the answer right there. One of the key parts to answering a question like this, number one, like I told you that we're going to talk about, is what is the difference? What is the difference? So I've helped you out here in this question. Look at this. These are the differences. Oh, and I missed a difference right here. We have a difference for the catalog product entity right down here. That would be a difference as well. So the goal is to find the ones that we know are emphatically wrong. So which ones would be emphatically wrong? Well, notice we had a comment about keeping security in mind. Well, putting a product in like this is a definite problem. We should never, ever do this. So, and ultimately questions like this can be somewhat easy, right? So We'd never, ever do this. The other interesting thing is that Magento will automatically try to escape these column names. So basically, we would have backticks around some and to the end here. That means that there is no option for, or I mean, this whole thing is going to be escaped. So I think it'll result in a SQL error, which is not good. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is, all right, so we have a get table. That's good. It's always good to wrap a get table. The value of get table, in my understanding is, in my observation, is basically if there is a prefix for these tables, and that's not used terribly often anymore. Like it used to be a little more regular. Like if you had WordPress and Magento in the same database, which it's pretty easy to split those out. And it's a really good idea to split those out, by the way. Then you can have different security and different users and all that stuff, you know, again, to try to firewall off WordPress from Magento or vice versa. So yeah, get table is important. And ultimately, based off of that, we can probably get rid of answer C here. But, you know, we'll examine that. So we have a new expression. This is where your understanding of Magento is, and the capabilities of its ORM are really important. So this expression class is basically the new version of the old Zend _DB _EXPR for like expression, but expr. And basically what this does is it allows you to send in some custom code that's more or less not going to be escaped. So you don't want to put in like unverified values in there. That would be really, really bad. But basically it just allows you to pass in this, so we can pass our sum along there. And then we also have our where. And you'll notice we are using the parameter substitution here. So where product is in this list, and we pass in a list of SKUs. And that's all we have to do. We don't have to do an implode or anything like that. Magento takes care of all that for us. So it's looking like B is the right answer at this point. Now let's look at C. Select from, this looks decent, except we are missing this, the get table here. It's not the end of the world to miss that. I will say that. I don't think it's like a real problem. But let's look at the, we have the new expression sum, and I highlighted the two differences here. I didn't highlight because this was the same down here. New expression sum quantity, so that's good. But I'm wondering about the syntax. Like one of these syntaxes is wrong. So we have from, and we have our where statement in here. And you know what's interesting is this replicates the on for a join. So that's why it can be confusing, because if we substituted inner, or well, from to like inner join or something like that, or join inner, that would be roughly this type of process. Now, in this case, we can do a filter inside of that, which is a good idea for speed. However, we are missing like a legit product association. So, or like a table association, you know, where you say basically catalog, product entity, etc. So that's where it is just a little bit different. So, yeah, that is that. And you know what's funny? As I'm walking through this video right now, I notice we actually have a typo. This should not be catalog product entity. This should be the reservation, inventory reservation table. So it's hard keeping some of this stuff straight sometimes, but I think you get the point. Great work. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope this is helpful. Actually, before we go, I want to quickly show you how this code fits into a bigger picture. And we can see right here, we have this get stock details. This is a module we're working toward releasing here soon. Still doing some final brushing up touches because it's pretty complex. But this is basically to build a much more advanced version of this query. And what this does is it basically joins together each one of the stocks. And we get a new column for each one of those stocks. So we can basically see what is available per stock in columnar format. So yeah, it makes it quite straightforward, but it does in this type of case. Actually, here's my inspiration for option number C here. So we see select join left. We have reservation alias. We implode this product SKU is this, and we have the quote into. So basically, we have our association and we are dropping this, then we're putting a filter on there just again to help speed up and first reduce down the number of rows that are being selected. So there is your practice test question answer video for this week.